Come check out one of Denver's coolest drives just an hour away from the city. Mount Blue Sky takes you from a mile high to almost 3 miles high on top of this famous 14er. Today, come on a Radically Colorado adventure with us as we travel on Mount Blue Sky Highway with Hayley's family who's in town. This is one of the highest highways in Colorado that will bring you almost all the way to the top of Mount Blue Sky and leave you absolutely stunned with views as you're climbing. All right. You're going to come along with us on our drive on Mount Blue Sky Road here. And our first stop is at a visitor center, which is like a real natural botanic gardens, to be completely honest with you. These trees right here can live up to 2,000 years, which is mind-blowing to think about everything in history that this tree has gone through. Like the Roman Empire, everything in modern history, and all the way back to Jesus Christ. That's mind-blowing that this tree has stood here, and some of these trees have stood here for that long. I'm also going to bring you on a journey to learn about the history of Mount Blue Sky as we're traveling through the winding roads of the Rocky Mountains. Mount Blue Sky is a place where history runs deep, far beyond what most people see today. For countless generations, this area has been sacred to at least 48 different Native American tribes, including a lot that we've talked about on this channel: the Arapaho, Cheyenne, Ute, who we explored pretty deeply, and others. These tribes have lived, hunted, and held ceremonies in these lands, their connection to the mountain woven into the fabric of their cultural and spiritual lives. The mountain and its surrounding areas aren't just landmarks, they are living symbols of the tribe's resilience, spirituality, and deep respect for the land. Of course, all of this changed when the history of Mount Blue Sky took a different turn in the 19th century, when European settlers began to explore and document the area. Take a little break from history here to document some family photos. Here's Brian, Hayley's dad, getting that beautiful view. And then we get Lynette, Hayley's grandma, in here as well. Really loving how you can see that rainfall. And that would be the foothills in that direction. And just miles and miles away, you can see where that rain is falling. Here's Brooke, Hayley's sister, coming in for the family shots. What a beautiful place to get some photos. And we get Avery in here for the shot, Brooke's fiance. Girl shot, Brian the photographer are doing a great job. Alright, we'll get back to history here as we continue our journey up Mount Blue Sky. There's Bayla saying hello from her famed windows seat. And you got Ruthie in there too, gonna hop and say hello. Alright, let's get on our journey. In 1863, artist Albert Bierstadt and his guide William Newton Byers approached the mountain from Idaho Springs along Chicago Creek. He spent several days capturing the mountain's essence through sketches and paintings. His mountain and his namesake Mount Bierstadt is on the other side of Mount Evans, which is another famous 14er here to climb in Colorado. He spent several days capturing that and then went down to the Chicago Lakes, which are also in the Mount Evans area. His famous painting, A Storm in the Rocky Mountains, Mount Rosalie, brings these sketches to life, immortalizing the mountain in art. A decade later, in 1873, William Henry Jackson, part of the Hayden Survey, visited the Chicago Lakes. He took numerous photographs with the summit of the mountain subtly peeking over the Upper Chicago Lake and Summit Lake. The Hayden survey at the time reported that the mountain's elevation was 14,330 feet, so pretty dang close, and was measured by triangulation. Despite these artistic and scientific explorations, the mountain's name for many years was Mount Evans, after the notorious John Evans, the second territorial governor of Colorado. We talked a little bit about Evans on here as well. His legacy was marred by his connection to the Sand Creek Massacre, which was a tragedy of 1864, which was a brutal attack led by the Colorado Territory Militia that resulted in the killing of over 230 Cheyenne and Arapaho people, most of whom were women, children, and elderly. For many Native Americans, the name Mount Evans was a painful reminder of this dark chapter in Colorado's history. The movement to rename the mountain began as part of a broader effort to address historical injustices and to honor the indigenous peoples who have long been the stewards of this land. The new name, which is in 2023 chosen, Mount Blue Sky, was chosen to reflect the Arapaho people, known as the Blue Sky People, and their sacred Blue Sky ceremony, a vital part of their cultural and spiritual identity. This renaming is more than just changing a name, it's a symbolic act of healing and a step towards acknowledging the true history of the region, although the Arapaho did come and take this land from the Ute. Comment below on your thoughts on that. The United States Forest Service has since recognized the mountain's significance with signs at the summit of Mount Blue Sky, making this area as part of the Arapaho and Roosevelt National Forest, and acknowledging its new name as a tribute to the tribes whose history is so deeply tied to the land. And for one thing, Mount Blue Sky is a cooler name than Mount Evans at the very least. The journey to create the Mount Blue Sky Scenic Byway is part of the larger story of the Denver Mountain Park system, a vision that allowed Denverites to explore the mountains in a way that feels almost meditative. One of the road circuits, Circle G, was designed to traverse the road and its pass and its climb all the way to the top of Mount Blue Sky and loop down to Idaho Springs. You can hike to the top of Mount Blue Sky, which I've done before too. A little bit aclimatic knowing that everybody else drove up there though. So the effort to build this stream began in 1915 with the acquisition of land parcels including Bergen Park. By 1918, the segment between Bergen Park and this pass was under construction. Bergen Park's an evergreen. The vision extended to transforming Mount Evans into a national park, though it wasn't without its challenges. The National Park Service and U.S. Forest Service were at odds, with Chief Forester Graves blocking the mountain's reclassification. So this could have been a national park, but it's not. It's a national forest. Despite setbacks, construction of the road continued, driven by collaboration between the city and county of Denver, the U.S. Congress, the state highway system, and the Bureau of Public Roads. The road from Soda Pass to Echo Lake began in 1919, and by 1921 the construction had reached Echo Lake. The road to the peak of Mount Blue Sky was surveyed in 1923, and despite numerous challenges, was completed in 1930. The Crest house at the top that we see here was built between 1941 and 42 and once offered a restaurant and gift shop. Near the summit, there was also a restaurant and gift shop. It's a lodge by Echo Lake that is being transformed, is my understanding, though it burned down in 1975. So those are the ruins that we see here at the top of Mount Blue Sky. In 2017, the mountain and Echo Lake were designated as a historic site by the American Physical Society, recognized the many cosmic ray physics experiments conducted there between 1935 and 1960. Mount Blue Sky also hosts the annual Mount Evans Hill Climb, a challenging 27.4-mile bicycle race that takes riders up the almost 7,000 feet in elevation. And you can just go crazy over here. There's so many great trails that you can go on. The renaming of Mount Blue Sky, to me, is a powerful reminder of the importance of restoring and respecting the narratives of those who have been historically involved in the making of this terrain. It's about creating a future where the stories and contributions of the native people add to our collective understanding of the land that we all share today. I personally think that this is one of the top 10 drives that you can make in the Denver area, and to me it's just as pretty as the drive in Rocky Mountain National Park that goes from Estes Park to Grand Lake, albeit way less traffic. So, a little concerned to release this video, but here you are, another secret and amazing adventure for you to take in the Denver area that will truly be radical.